Flatbush Zombies are back. New album, Vacation in Hell, Michi Darko, Zombie Juice, Eric Ark Elliott, a hip-hop trio from Flatbush. I thought this new album of theirs, Vacation in Hell, was really fucking frustrating. Like, there's one glaring problem. Like, you don't even have to listen to the album to understand the issue. You can pretty easily grasp the problem by just looking at the track list. I do have my individual problems with the tracks, like some verses here or there, a beat here or there, or a hook here or there, but pretty easily the big problem, the big thing stopping this album from being excellent is the fact that it's way too bloated. It's 19 tracks, 76 minutes. Like, come the fuck on, man. There are very few rappers, or bands, or artists in the world, period, that I would want and be open to and be excited to hear an 80-minute long record from them. And yeah, Flatbush Zombies, they're not really one of them. Especially after that last album, 3001, Laced Odyssey. Like, that album, upon revisits, you know, whilst despite it having probably the best album cover and possibly best album title of the year of 2016. This album, for me, is an absolute chore to sit through, honestly. Despite a few entertaining verses here and there, it's actually quite a painfully meandering album, a really mind-numbingly ineffectual debut for them that I just thought went on for way too long and just really showed how boring these guys can be. Like, it was so uncreative, it really lacked the essence of fun that you would want from a group like this. But thankfully, this is something that Vacation in Hell massively improves upon, actually, the sense of fun that is, especially in its first half. Particularly the first 8 tracks, they are all going for this really aggressive banger type production, really instantaneous direct beat. Right from the get-go on the song Hello, they rectify one of my problems with 2001, and this is something I was hoping they would do on this album going into it. And that's, you know, actually fucking trade bars, bro. Like, these guys, like, I've always thought the chemistry between the 3 members is one of the strongest elements of the group. And on this track, they are just straight up, there's no hook on this song at all. They're just going back and forth for the entirety of the song. It's a stellar opener. The instrumental is so unapologetically just menacing. Huge imperiling sense of evil on that synth line, and the percussion is just so in your face. The chemistry they display on this track is fucking undisputable. Everyone every member is just pulling out all the stops. Michi sounds as animalistic as ever. Zombie Juice is sounding as animated as ever, and Eric as well. He comes through with some really fun vocal quirks on his verses too. Chunky and Bison, tracks 2 and 4. These tracks were just both absolute bar fests. Again, production is just, it's really comprehensive and detailed on these particular songs, especially on Chunky. Eric really impressed me because I've always thought Eric's a kind of a middling producer. I never really found him to be an amazing producer, but on Chunky he really came through with a really fantastic beat in my opinion. Zombie Juice in particular really stood out to me on Chunky because he went through his verse, like his really detailed deconstruction of modern day racism was so compelling on that verse, and it really helps too that it was accompanied with such a speedy, tight, rapid-fire flow. He sounded laser-focused on this track. His appearances on both M. Bison and Chunky are probably his 2 best appearances on the whole album. Headstone was cool too. This was a single that I did hear before the album release, though. And when I first heard it, I was kind of underwhelmed by it, but it definitely did improve when I heard it in context with the album. It's a decent track. I wish the hook was a little better. It's a bit of a tedious hook to me. It's not really very sticky. The beat is cool. It does have a decent bounce to it. You know, I can forgive it, because even though the beat, sonically, it's not that exciting to me, really. I think it's one of Eric's least creative instrumentals on this album, but I will acknowledge there is a decent groove there, and I think the lyrical idea, especially Michi, his performance on the song is unparalleled. It's fantastic, but I love the lyrical idea of them just sort of referencing a whole bunch of classic rappers and albums that kind of inspired them or something. Like throughout the whole song, they're weaving in like little references to artists and albums from like the 80s and the 90s. It's really cool. Big Shrimp and Vacation are probably the most commercial song. Big Shrimp, I thought, had a really cool beat, but everything else about the song just kind of fell flat for me. Especially the chorus, man. Zombie Juice auto-tune on this. Oh, wow. It was not working at all. Vacation, though, in my opinion, is very easily the worst song. Especially, again, the chorus. Zombie Juice on the chorus of this track is unbearable. He sounds terrible. I could not get behind his singing. It sounded really awkward to me. He sounded like he was trying really hard to just sound like commercial or something like that. It sounded so terrible. I really couldn't get behind it. But he really botched the hook, but he did not botch his appearance and his contribution as much as Joey did, because his verse was god-awful. The beat is so empty too, but yeah, regardless. But yeah, Joey's verse is, honestly, this might be my least favorite Joey feature, like, ever. He comes through with so many filler lines that mean nothing. I think he might have freestyled this verse, because it sounds so fucking basic. Joey's supposed to be like a top-tier lyricist to, like, current rappers, and he's got lines like, oh, my life is what you dream about. Fake ones always chase you for the clout. You know, I used to be taking orders, but now they can't afford us. Now I'm making money. Fuck the cops. And just saying really just like basic things that every rapper in history has already said a million times in more creative ways. Like, Joey's the type of rapper that would take things like, my life is what you dream about, like a sentiment like that, and spin it and or use some sort of simile or metaphor to make it more entertaining. Like Joey, like when I see Joey's name, I expect a little bit more lyrical stamina personally. I thought his verse was really lackluster. But even Michi, like Michi's delivery was of course as great as it always fucking is because his voice is just the best. But there were some terrible lines on this Michi Vale on Vacation. He said like I'm probably the realest to come out of vagina. Now does that sound like a good vacation or am I wildin'? Like, what? Climbing out of a vagina is a good vacation? What are you saying? I'm the shit like my mama gave birth to me out her asshole. Yeah, the song's terrible. Like, and Eric's flow is really fucking annoying too. But yeah, most of the filler that does come in the latter half though. Ask Courtney, track 10, features one of the most unenjoyable beats to me on the whole album. A series of really just underwhelming flows from all of the members, especially Zombie Juice, who sounds, on this track, he sounds to me like he's just really trying way too hard to sound aggressive or something, and it just totally falls flat. And then there's Crown with Portugal the Man, and this track, features Portugal the Man, of all fucking bands. Like, it's really weird, it's a very unexpected feature for me, well, unexpected to me, but yeah, their contribution though was pretty uneasy and underwhelming again. Like, I don't really think the two styles of these two groups really work at all. Like, there's this beat switch during Zombie Juice's verse. Like, Zombie Juice is rapping, and while he's rapping, the beat kind of switches up in the middle of his verse, and it was laughable. Like, it sounded really bad. I just was not enjoying it. I didn't think Zombie Juice worked with the switch. Like, everything about it just felt awkward. Proxies, again, just feels like filler, really. The song is entirely dominated by Eric. There's no other members on this track besides Eric. And there are a few personal moments on this verse, for sure, like the part, he's basically just talking about, like, reflecting on where he used to be, where he is now. There's a line where he says, like, there are people, like, at the beginning of his verse, he says, like, there are people that would kill to have the problems that I have now, because he's in a good spot, he has barely any problems, and he's been in a place where the problems are a lot more, vital and severe. But now he's doing okay. He's talking about how he wants to see what his idols are seeing, like, he's on the come up, he's rising, it's an inspirational verse, it's very personal, but the beat features, like, these really just dime a dozen redundant vocal, like, choir phrases that just annoyingly chant out the entire song. They do kind of dissipate during the verses, but Eric's rapping, it's not very compelling to me. Like, his lyrics, sure, they're introspective at times, but his delivery is so flaccid. When you compare it to songs like Hello, where he's really given a very kind of interesting vocal performance with loads of vocal characteristics, compared to this, it's just a little bit more dull. More mellow personal cuts too, like The Goddess and the last track with Denzel Curry, as well as Trapped and You and I, which I think are the two most notable ones. These two tracks, in my opinion, feature probably the two best Michi Darko verses. On You and I, he is discussing things like saying to his mum that he wishes he was wishing for death at the age of 5, and he still feels that way now due to, his current problems dealing with stress and sex and drug addiction, his aunt dying of cancer. It's a very strong and revealing moment of genuine poignancy on this album that I really did enjoy and appreciate. Really great verse. And on Trapped, he gets even lower, he gets even darker and even more personal, dealing with suicidal thoughts and contemplating the idea if anyone will actually remember him if he does go through a suicide. Like, it's just really fucking beautiful. It was a really powerful moment, and this song Trapped is honestly probably the most artful song on this album. Eric R. Elliott singing, his singing on this track was surprisingly gorgeous and really impassioned and beautiful, and the instrumental, the use of guitar here is really great. I think the use of guitar really fits the melancholy nature of the subject matter, and there's an amazing somber build during the first half using this guitar that just really comes to an amazing climax and payoff when it gets to Michi's really powerful verse. It's a great song, one of my favorites, but my possible favorite track is actually the one that comes right after. Funnily enough, the song Best American. I actually fucking love this track. Yeah, I just think no other song on this album strikes the perfect balance between personal and fun in the same way Best American does. Like, the hook has this irresistible bounce to it. Pretty Best American. The way they say it is just so charismatic. It's such a groovy chorus, and the instrumental features this fucking awesome, really pristine, watery sample that gets infectiously looped throughout the entire song. And all the members come through with fantastic performances. Every single one. It does a great job. And I think the political angle they take in the lyrics shows more insight into who they are as people. We see a different side to them on this track, which I really did enjoy. Other songs songs earlier on in the album that I did enjoy. The song Facts with Jadakiss was cool. I like the instrumental having this really lumbering sort of piano loop that sounds so fucking... It's a great track. It's a slow burn of a song. It's not quite as immediate as some other tracks here, but it's definitely a solid track. The song with ASAP 12 had a pretty solid beat as well. And ASAP 12 actually didn't sound boring as fuck. You know, he actually gave a better verse on this track than any of the verses on his actual fucking album, which is, you know, kind of fucking hilarious. But yeah, the song Real Girls with Bun B was terrible. The beat was so dime a dozen and easily the least creative beat, or one of the least creative beats on the whole album. And then at the very end, the final few tracks, Misunderstood with Nick Caution, a huge disappointment. This song could have been fantastic. It was like 2.5 minutes. Nick Caution is a fantastic rapper. I think Nick Caution is an excellent, underappreciated rapper from like the new school, you know. I think he's really one of my favorite members of Pro Era, but he just sings the hook. And I was just like, what? You could have such a banger here. If this was like a 4-minute track or something with like a hard beat, kind of like Big Shrimp or M Bison, like a really aggressive beat or something, and then like Flatbush Zombies, Michi Darko going back and forth with Nick Caution, like an aggressive track, like that would have been beautiful. But now we get like this 2.5-minute inconsequential filler track where Nick does the hook, and it's just like, this was lame. The beat is just shit. The last two tracks are more sentimental. The second last track, You Are My Sunshine, being a tribute to A$AP Yams, a really touching sort of song dedicated to him, in memory of him, from Michi Darko. He kind of dominates the whole song, and he just delivers a really beautiful performance in dedication of A$AP Yams, which was lovely. And then they have the final track featuring Denzel Curry, which was a good song, but you know, when I saw the Denzel Curry feature, I was expecting, like with the Nick Caution track, just an animalistic banger. Like, I'm like, bro, Michi Darko and Denzel Curry on like a bang, like that would have been beautiful. Going back and forth with Zombie Juice, like that would have been fucking excellent. Like, but they went for a more kind of soft, beautiful, gorgeous, spacey, you know, ethereal, and you know, sentimental song for that closing track. It was a damn solid closer, but a part of me is disappointed because I was kind of hoping for like a banger type song. But yeah, overall, I'm kind of conflicted. Like, there are some fun moments here, but I think they kind of just went for a bit of a mixtape approach. It's like a pick and choose type album, you know? It's like you just find the songs you really like, throw those on your playlist, and enjoy those ones. And then it's like, as an album experience, this thing is really tiresome. The Goddess 2 was just sickeningly cutesy, and I couldn't really get behind the beat on this song. The little it just sounded really out of place and uncomfortable, because Flatbush Zombies, I think they're at their best when they're either really depressing or really aggressive, and this beat just doesn't work for them. I'm torn between a 6 and a 7. I think it's a 7 if you just play it on like shuffle, but it's a 6 if you listen to it from like start to finish. That doesn't make sense. There are some highlights. I'm torn on this one. I'm gonna go with a strong 6. You got the score right. Woo! You predicted it, baby. You got it right. How the fuck did you get it right? You psychic or some shit? But yeah, the full album, taking everything into account, I think it rounds out about a 6, a strong 6. Yeah, this one was just way too bloated. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Vacation in Hell by Flatbush Zombies. Thank you for watching. Bye!